Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainboots.com here with a new series, Use It or Lose It, Sarah. And I'm going to make this cute guy today. If you'd like to make him, just boop, stick around. Ooh, and I'm also going to tell you how to tie that cool twine bow with no knots. As always, thank you for being here. Please like this video so I know you're here. Now it's just decoupage. I'm going to be using fabric because I needed to test a sublimation printer that had been sitting dormant. I'll put the link to these below, but these bright colors and a very good variety of them allowed me to print and press onto this fabric. And then once I saw them, I was like, I'm gonna use these. Even though they're a test print, I knew I could make something for my kitchen and some hostess gifts for the holidays. I'll be using this mini cookbook stand. You can use cork boards, you can use cutting boards, you can use charcuterie boards, whatever you want. You see that up there, the red cup on the white? That turns into an epic failure that I'll share with you. All right, so decoupage. Even if you don't have a sublimation printer, you can print this on copy paper. You can print this on tissue paper, even labels. So don't let it hinder you that I'm using a sublimation printer and printed it on fabric. Now, my first step with decoupage is always painting something white. So if it's the whole piece white, great. If it's just the background of whatever it is I'm putting on top of it, great. But I do that so it really makes my colors pop. So I just painted the entire front of this cookbook stand white and then hit it with a heat gun. I've been asked a lot about the heat gun. I'll put a link down to it below. I love the thing. I've had it for years, but I don't have the right color brown. So apparently I had to mix up brown using an antique brown and mineral from Waverly. Now, I get a lot of questions this time of year about Cricut. Yes, you can print, then cut this exact design with your Cricut machine. Easy peasy. You can also ask me any questions you have if you are maybe asking for a Cricut machine for Christmas. I have a really popular post on that, and I also answer a few questions each week. Print and cut with the Cricut is one of the coolest things ever. It makes an artist out of all of us. I added a little bit of brown to sort of rustic up this thing, and then I used a sanding block to smooth all of those edges and just fade it all out. The last little bit of painting that I did was just to add a couple of white streaks in here to this cookbook stand portion because I figured out right then it's going to go on my hot cocoa bar. All right, so once that is all dry, again, you can use your heat gun or just have patience, which I don't have. So now it's the cool part. And now we get to stick this on. So because I didn't do print then cut, I'm going to use a pair of sharp, very sharp, tiny little scissors to cut this thing out. Now, here's a couple of tips. Is it perfect? No. No, it is not. I'm way too impatient to make things perfect. But I will say with decoupage and fabric, it makes it easy because if you have any imperfections, you can hide those with paint or you can hide those with a bow or whatever. So I'm just going to cut this out as best I can. I didn't even worry about the inside of the mug or anything, the inside of the hat. I just did the outside. And now, because I'm using fabric, I'm going to turn this over and use a Mod Podge in order to add all the glue to the back while I get this set on my board. So I'm using a matte. Here you go. I'm using matte, but you can use whatever Mod Podge is right for your project, or you can just use a little watered down glue. That works too. All right, so because I'm using fabric, I am going from the inside out as to not really try and like toughen up or roughen up the outside of my fabric. I want to try and keep those lines as clean as possible. And I'm so excited to share with you the fail. And the reason I'm excited to share with you the massive failure that I had is because sometimes we all just brain fog, right? I knew that wouldn't work. In my heart of hearts, in the back of my brain, in my soul, I knew it wouldn't work, and yet I did it. So as I struggle here with this, I'm going to hold it down with my fingernail after I got it centered. And I'm just going to add a Mod Podge layer to the top, again, working out from the inside out. So that way I can get any of the little extra fibers off. The great part about this Dollar Tree polyester fabric is 100% polyester, and that makes it really vibrant. But your printer can make it really vibrant as well, so don't worry about that. All right, so once I get all of this Mod Podge on, you can let it manually dry or you can hit it with a heat gun. I actually try and let it manually dry for as long as I can. I just think it doesn't push the Mod Podge around, if that makes sense. I've like sort of scorched projects. I don't know how to say that. Today's not my day for talking, apparently. But after I put the Mod Podge on the center of the project, I also Mod Podged the entire cutting board that I painted, or I'm sorry, the cookbook stand that I painted. And again, this cookbook stand is available at all the craft stores. It's just that I have had it in my craft stash for too long. And so I am going to be pulling out once a week just an idea that if I can come up with something, I'm going to make it. If I can't come up with something, it's going to the thrift store. And that is because I have too much stuff. Speaking of too much stuff, I can't find my Christmas ribbon, so I got out what I thought would work. I got out ribbon, I got out lace, I got out cording that's all knotted up. And then I realized, Sarah, this is in the kitchen. Let's use some baker's twine. This is Dollar Tree khaki jute twine. And I'm going to show you a real cool trick we'd use in sewing. So I'm just going to loop an end, and I'm going to have a tail, and then I'm going to wrap around the handle a few times, keeping that loop outside of my wrap. Just hold it with your finger, and then you can squish down everything to make it all nice and lined up. But once you get a tail that's about the same size, take the end of that tail, loop it through the back of the loop, pull it, but don't pull it real hard, just pull it down, and then take the other one and yank it through. Now, that's really cool because it will stay just like that. You don't even have to tie a bow. So if you want that look, it'll be perfect. But watch me. Watch me for a second as I struggle to make this bow. Not my day for bows either. I don't know what was going on that day. All right, so once I had that, I just basically straightened it. I cut off the ends because they were a couple, a couple centimeters too long, and then turned and twisted the bow off to the side, and she's done. I should say he's done. Now this is going to go on my coffee bar. I have some cutting boards and mini easels I'm going to make. This one I have to redo. Watch how cool this is. So I painted it, Mod Podged it, put parchment paper on it, and then ironed it. And it produced this gloopy mess. Yeah, watch this. This is so cool. It just peels right off in one big hunk of grossness. So I'm going to sand that little cork board down and try again later. And this one I actually like, and I did not mess up. But hey, what do you think about it? Boop. Let me know down in the comments. Will you make something like this? Do you have a ton of stuff in your craft room you haven't worked with? Let me know. As always, thank you so much for being here. Please like, please share, and subscribe for more crafty fun.